What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game. I'm Bite Rusty Bite, and with me as always, the almighty Lee. What's up, Lee?
My favorite zombie for a very long time, and then I actually ended up having to use him for the event to get the blitz done, and he just does not hold up very well, or at least I haven't made him hold up very well.
Yeah. Hey, Lee, before we get rolling on today's show, I just want to take a minute to share our thoughts and prayers and love with everyone affected by Hurricane Helene, all the way from the Florida coast into the Atlantic seaboard and then up into the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Georgia. Over 100 plus people have lost their life in this disaster. Flooding is continuing to affect the Appalachian Mountains, towns that had no plan or preparation for a flood because it had literally never happened before. Wow. So this show today, we're going to do our best to provide a little bit of entertainment and a little bit of escape from that reality. But just know that we love you and our heart breaks with that region of the U.S. And we know so many in the community live in that area. So
nice. Yeah. Well, what else are we doing today, Rusty?
Here's our show rundown. We are going to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shards that magically appeared. Zombie Month is here. We're going to recap our predictions. Did we get any of them right? We are going to talk through the things of value on this the zombie things of value on the midweek prize wall, as well as how to plan our month. We think you should go into every MLC with a plan. Yep. And then I think we're going to wrap up with a little chat on the WWE TV today. Sounds like a pretty full show.
Bad Blood predictions, maybe?
Oh, perfect. I'll get that card pulled up, and we'll do that at the end. Yeah, see, even in the chat, people sharing their stories of impact from Hurricane Helene and the catastrophic flooding that has resulted from it. So, Lee, this week started, I think, the community's favorite MLC. It's the zombie takeover.
Yep.
And yet, week one of the most these doggone Ninja Turtles need to go away forever.
No.
First and foremost, I don't want to think about the Ninja Turtles anymore, but because they've resurfaced on our radar in the kickoff of Zombie Week. So if you're not aware of what's happening, a message was sent out to everyone that claimed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle moment this previous MLC.
Yep.
And the message contained, 16,000 shards or so,
11,000.
So that they could max the moment, meaning Scopely decided that the community wasn't offered enough shards, right? And so they were given a batch of shards. Now, like all things in the game, and I'm going to hush and let Lee respond, but like all things in the game, something happened.
And then Rusty drops off chat. That's hilarious. Something happened, and Rusty's gone.
I'm back. You know what? The man tried to shut us down and censor us.
Wow.
So, like all things that happen in this game, some benefited and some did not. The ones that benefited, many of which were angry that they benefited. The ones that did not benefit, many were angry that they did not get it. Lee, how can something good happen in this game and we get stuff for free and yet it be so polarizing and make such a vast array of people salty? That's the
right?
question I'm scratching my head wondering.
Well, first off, the TMNT characters are super fun. I'm glad we did that crossover. It just, like we talked about before, it'd been great as its own MLC. But that being said, so those who grabbed the moment got the shards. Those who didn't grab the moment didn't get the shards. But the argument from those who didn't grab the moment is the reason they didn't grab the moment was because they knew there weren't going to be enough shards. Now, I tried to tell people on here in chats, other things like, hey, this is not the last time we're going to see the TMNT. Now, I didn't know about this, obviously, but I knew that they were going to come back. We'd heard, from on high that at some point, we just don't know when, at some point, there's going to be another TMNT related event. So I was like, just grab the moment, have it for when that shows up, blah, blah, blah. I followed my own advice and got the moment. Yes. But I can understand being a little bit like, oh, I made the decision I made based on the information that was available. If you just grabbed, like, I don't know, if you grabbed a plate instead of the moment, like if you had to choose between the two, which I might have done if I'd have had literally 25 more pizza slices, I would have gotten 2 plates instead of the moment. And, maybe I'd have been salty about it. I get that. But on the one hand, I never want to be upset at generosity.
Plates. You would have had 2 plates that had, though I just said, would you really have? Because you would have had in your inventory 2 plates that have never been offered in the game before.
Yeah.
And I believe you would have picked plates that had a destination. Someone could have, on your roster, could have benefited from those plates, right? And in fact, a feud has gone by. You would have probably used those plates to get your feud resource. So how can we have this kind of hindsight or buyer's remorse, right? Where we're thinking, oh, if only, right? I don't know. This is where I just get like, I've said it a million times and you've affirmed it. Just the bird in the hand is worth, right? The old saying, 2 in the bush, meaning what you can get, get it and enjoy it and be grateful for it. What you didn't get or what's out of reach, let it go. Let it go. Right? Now I got the moment, Lee.
Yeah.
In fact, I bought the turtle kickoff pass because I had a freak out. I had a total freak out thinking I need the 50% prize wall to get Leonardo. I didn't get anywhere close to Leonardo.
Right.
I didn't get not even halfway, maybe halfway to him, right? Bought the kickoff, not Raphael. I didn't get Raphael. A lot of the free-to-play guys in our faction got Raphael because of the RNG was good to them.
Right.
When we were the ones buying the pizza and they were the ones eating the pizza. It felt like an old youth group event, right?
Right.
I bought the kickoff. I got the 6 silver Kofi Michelangelo right out of the gate, right? So I didn't touch anything on either wall till the very end of the contest, and I decided, well, I better grab those shards. I better grab those fuses because that's what's I'm gonna be able to get the moment and then the fuses and then So all that to say, I'm not mad that the guys in my faction were sent a batch of shards.
Right.
I'm not mad that I spent. I'm not mad at what I chose. I'm not mad that I, quote, used resources that I didn't necessarily need to because these shards came in. I could have never known that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I don't want the community to be punished. The reason we do this show is for the community because we love and value the community. So it's the antithesis of thinking people are going to be screwed over. Let's let them get a moment. They can never level up and ha ha ha. They should have thought it through. Like that's to me, that's crazy talk, right? Things happen. They work out for some. They don't always work out for others.
Yeah.
And I can't be salty about what other people get, especially the people that I'm trying to get rewards with in my faction.
Yeah. I was
It,
jealous
it
that the free to play got Raphael and I didn't, but at the same time, it's like, well, they probably
right?
need him more than I do.
Well, that's just the way the RNG works. When we did the Cinco de Mayo RNG bags, I got plenty of coins and was able to get like 2 or 3 plates. And the guy that
Yeah.
spent the most money and got us the RNG bags, he missed out. He didn't get nearly as much as I got, and he was the one funding my free bags, right? So it's like, I wish there were. I wish there was. I wish there was a way to do it fairly, to where if you are the spender in a faction spend event, you get guaranteed amounts of the medallions, and if you are not, if you are the recipient of the generosity, then your medallions are RNG based. Does that make sense, Lee?
Yeah.
Like if you buy the mega, you're getting a guaranteed 100 pizza, right?
Right.
And then everybody in your faction gets a bag, and they might get up to anywhere between 5,000 and 5,000 pizza,
Right.
right? And so
But
it's like,
usually 10.
yeah, right, yeah. So I mean, like then it's like, okay, it's both and, right? The spender wins. The spender gets more. The thanks for did we block that? Thanks for blocking that in the chat. I guess we're getting out there if we're starting to get spam in our chats. Yeah. So I'm not trying to preach a sermon here. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to think and feel. But Lee, you said right before we went on the show, it got so hostile that they had to shut down the forum thread or something like that.
Yeah.
It was the forum was exploding the day it happened. You got
Yeah.
any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, again, it's just, people being angry that they didn't get something that somebody else got. And again, that's the whole contentment is the cure to 1,000 illnesses and ailments. That's the celebrate those who did get it. And, it's fine to feel bummed out. Like, dang, I wish I would have known. But, don't let it cause you to go on an angry tirade. Don't let it cause you to accuse the devs of cooking something up unfair. If they wanted to drop something that benefits the community, and like I say, I don't know, it's one of those things. Like I didn't see the need for the heat, but I totally understand why some people got to that place. If I hadn't gotten it, and if my reasoning was, well, I just knew there wasn't going to be shards, and then I turned out to be wrong, I'd be upset because the information that I was given didn't lead me to the right decision. But again, I mean, that's life, man. That's the way, not just this game, that's the way so much of life works, and you roll with it and move ahead with the best ability and the best knowledge you've got at the moment. So that's kind of all I got.
It's really hard. It's really hard to one of the most difficult jobs in the world is a judge,
Yeah.
right? Like a judge who has to ensure fairness in a courtroom, who has to ensure justice in a courtroom, who hears the nuance and the complexity of both sides of a very complicated issue, and then to make a ruling. Very few of us are qualified to be judges. Very few of us would make very good judges. I would not make a good judge.
Right.
I would not. Whoever had the most compelling case last is the one I would remember.
Right.
Right? Like whoever was more passionate and talked to me last is the one I'd go with. All that to say, we really turn into judges though when things like this happen, right? We bang our gavel, and like think that the ruling was unfair, and it's so hard to get it right. But I'll say this, not as a Scopely mark, just as a fan of this game, I think they really try to get it right. I think they really try to get it right. Lee, do you believe in your heart of hearts that they try to get it right with situations like this?
I think they try to, yeah. I mean, they don't always, and that's fine. But I think that the heart is not destructive. It's how can we benefit, the community who are saying, because ultimately there was a response to so many people saying like, hey, awesome that you put that TMNT moment on the prize wall, but what's good does it do? We don't have any way to get shards, and now they give out the shards, and then it's like, oh man, but I wish we would have known that. I mean, I honestly don't think they had planned to give out, the shards before. I think it was a response to some of the other things, and then then there's backlash from that. So I mean, I think they're trying with it at least.
I think it's like the butterfly effect, right, Lee? Like everything you do has an impact and affects everyone else, whether it's a simple act, right, or a big act. That our lives in the real world and in this game, they bump into one another in a way that we can't often predict. I believe that they do a better job than the best job they've ever done with ensuring or the commitment to community fairness, and when things don't go right, to get it right. I remember the old days of just like, tough tax, pal, you're done.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. Nobody gets nothing.
Right.
I've got a Ghostbuster moment that they gave me for free that I cannot unlock because I did not get a second Ghostbuster.
And now theoretically you never can.
Right. That's a feel bad. It stares at me each day. So
it would drive me nuts if it just sat there and said waiting to unlock or whatever, if it was in its own little category. Ooh, that would drive me nuts.
So here's my final thought on it. Yes, it was frustrating. Yes. Totally agree with the 100%. Voices in the chat expressing that. But I would propose that the entire 2-week contest was frustrating. That it was shoved in to a great month. And I don't have very pleasant takeaways from the entire thing. And this was just icing on the cake of like, will it ever go away? I'm so tired of hearing about the spending fatigue of the the amount of time that it is required, the faction spend aspect of it all. For me, it was no fun. It was no fun, right? Bunders in the chat said it felt like overkill. Lee, we got 9 superstars last month, dude, introduced to us. That's more than 2 months MLCs, right?
Yeah. Well, if we're keeping at 4 in MLC, which, since they introduced the 4 in MLC rule, they've averaged 5 at the minimum, but, it's still good. Like, we're going to have more this month than we had, not last month, but the month before that. But yeah, I mean, again, from the one standpoint, for us making content, other than Jacob Fatu, the TMNT content was the highest viewed all month. So, it resonated with the community. I always kind of watch that to say like, hey, for example, we've done the 3 videos that are out so far, and Chelsea Green by far has the most views, which makes sense because she's the free. Yeah. But Bailey has very little views comparatively, which, because you made it. That's right. Because you made that video. You returned to creation, and
because it's Rusty alone, and people know. They're like, "Oh, this is a Rusty video." Hey, Lee. No, I just had it. Okay, Goldie had a great idea.
Okay,
this was the idea. I'm gonna just quote Goldie here because I think Goldie had the best idea I've heard. She suggested that the 2-week contest was great, and it would have been a really awesome thing to put between MLCs. That it would have been a great standalone event. And I thought, oh yeah, that's actually would have been perfect. And
if they'd done like a 3-week Bloodline event and then like a 2-week TMNT and then a 4-week zombie event, I would have been happy with that.
Yeah, so you guys can quote Goldie, give Goldie credit for that idea. I thought it was a great idea, and I thought, oh, she should be on the team that helps make those ideas.
We're getting Goldie a promotion.
She has a ton, and Goldie has a ton of experience with dealing with the community, being a mod on the forum. she's been a content creator for years and years, and her takes are usually pretty good on things like this. So,
Yeah.
Lee, how did you do with your zombie predictions? Shifting gears, leaving the turtles behind
Right.
forevermore.
I did okay. My zombie card was the free tier was going to be Karrion Cross, which does not seem to be on the table at all. We don't
Right.
know the other zombies that are coming out,
We
even
don't.
though there may be graphics in the game that reveal two of them. Anyway, so we
Breaking
currently
news. Where you
don't
heard it here
know.
first on the Champions Chat podcast. There was a leak. There was a graphic that went live. Actually, there was an email that they sent the entire player base that went out.
Oh, was that what it was?
And, yeah, there was both. I think they sent the email after the graphic leak
Oh,
of potentially an LA Knight zombie called
nah.
Nah.
And then there's the best in the underworld event that might be coming, which doesn't, directly say who it's going to be, right?
Huh. Probably Hades from the River Styx or
That's
something
right.
like that.
But I did predict for my S plus tier pick was Zombie CM Punk, and that does seem to be unconfirmed but confirmed, so to speak.
Right.
So I'm good there. Nobody had Chelsea Green on their bingo card. She was not on anybody's dance card, I don't think. And
especially a powerhouse Chelsea. What?
Yeah. Well, that's why the zombies are great. They can do classes that don't make sense to get them in there. Yeah, I like
she's
that.
really good, Lee. We're going to get to that in just a minute. Our initial
Right.
thoughts.
Well, you had a prediction, though, that you even got to do the video for. You called one that I would have never guessed. So what was yours?
Bailey. Yeah, Bailey.
Zombie.
Go back to, the four horsewomen of NXT, kind of that initial, like that rising crop of female superstars, megastars that came up all together. She was the only one that didn't have a zombie.
Right.
Like, she's won every title, every women's title they could ever dream of. Bailey's won it, right? She's done everything and was zombie-less. To me, the way Becky felt like a no-brainer last year, well, so did Bailey. Bailey felt like a no-brainer last year too. Yeah. So I was like, maybe this is finally the year to release Bailey, and here she is, and she is really, really good. Lee, you want to talk about that? Your initial impressions of this month's superstars?
Sure. I would say it's interesting. My first impression is it's interesting. Well, I haven't got a chance to play with Bailey because you did the preview for her. I did watch some content on her. It's interesting that the meta-defining sub is with Bailey and still not with Bret Hart. I called it out in our Bret Hart video, but I'm like, why do they not give Bret Hart the best sub in the game? Like, if you're going to introduce a new Bret Hart, just give him the best sub.
I think Bill Goldberg is a developer of champions, and he's continuing to screw me over and screw me out of this game, giving me a proper sub the way I deserve. I'm a legend. I carried this company for years on my back.
Wow.
If you haven't watched the McMahon documentary yet, just know that Bret Hart is in a ton of it in textbook crybaby fashion. So he even made a documentary about Vince all about himself. So he is such a gift for doing that.
Yeah.
So
I would say Zombie Chelsea is incredible for a free tier. I think, as we go between metas, she'll drop off more quickly than the others, but that's the way the B tier should. But right now through the 6-star gold meta, she has some great potential. And plus 99 MP, if you saw our break it down video, I'm pretty sure I hit 100 million with her on one build during that. It was late at night and I had to make a bunch of videos, but I'm pretty sure I hit 100 million with her. Now, it only works during plus 99 MP, but still, this is, for many people, All she had to do was be better than Piper Niven, and she would be most people's best powerhouse female. And I would say
Right.
she is. I think she's better, even long term predictions. She's better than Powerhouse Bianca. I think she's better than the way most people are going to be able to run Super Stacy. Super Stacy has a build if you've got some tricks that is stronger, but other than that, unless you've got some Whaley stuff, Super Stacy's, she's equal to or better than. Zombie Liv is probably still better, but I don't know. I said it last year when we were unofficial and we were just getting started with all this. I said, watch 6-star gold. Zombie Becky's going to thrive at 6-star gold. Zombie Liv isn't. And I still hold to that. Zombie Liv's fine. She does great. But, not the meta defining era. And so Zombie Chelsea is probably most people in the community's best powerhouse female. And she's free, which is awesome.
We'll continue to talk about this month's zombies, both on this show and on our Friday night power ratings. That's a plug for you to be on with us this Friday night, every Friday night on Twitch, on the Champions main Twitch, as we look at our power ratings of the new superstars as they come out. Lee, one thought I noticed is there's kind of a gameplay commonality when zombies come out, at least recently. Last year's zombies, one of the main things they did was they did damage to themselves as well as big damage to the opponent. And then there was a threshold of a hardcore move, right? Once you lost X% of your overall health, then your damage goes way up, right? So you can really basically take down an opponent as you take down yourself, the damage infliction. This year, there's a dynamic that I think is even more exciting. And it's a reversal. So instead of a hardcore move, this year there's a reversal that if you even attempt to put a submission lock on some of these zombies, they will take nearly, if not all, of your HP down to about 0, like that quick. Whoa. Thoughts on that dynamic or that gameplay?
Yeah. If you watched our videos, I did Brett and Chelsea. I did Brett first. And initially I looked at that and went, oh yeah, and then he's going to steal 3 million health and just moved on. Didn't actually read it because commas, my goodness, put commas in the game, Scopely. And then saw it was 33 million and went, like, what just happened, right? And so I picked it up by the time we did the Chelsea preview and was like, oh my gosh, she steals 20 million health. So at 6 gold, that's a third, right? She steals a third of your health. Brett steals roughly half, and Bailey steals a little bit more than that. And so you're saying, oh my gosh, like if they even sub you, which in the male dynamic, subs, a lot of people just don't use subs. Females, there's a lot of females that use subs. In fact, it's pretty guaranteed that you're going to come across a showdown, a feud lineup that is largely sub-based, or at least includes a sub. So all of a sudden, you've got this like instant win button, which is amazing. And again, it's like Chelsea, like the free character. I'm going to take my zombie Becky out on showdown and go, oh crap, I don't want to fight the free character. Like my zombie, even if I had gear, I don't right now, but even if I had zombie Becky's gear, I will go, oh, got to avoid Chelsea. Can't fight her. Like, that's crazy.
So does it feel like they're trying to just snuff submission out of the meta? I won't say they're trying to take it out of the game, but are they
Bailey's
trying to
is huge.
Right?
So
what happens when Bailey... What would happen if Zombie Bailey put a sub move on another Zombie Bailey? What would happen then?
It would break it. She'd get hurt. But they could just be back and forth. Like one would sub and steal health, the other would sub and steal health, the other would sub and steal health. Like, yeah.
It reminds me of something like Doc Brown would have said, like, it could start a collision that would explode the whole universe. The space-time continuum. Well, I love this new dynamic, but I also love sub moves. I love to set the board up with a sub move, right?
Right.
And especially for boss battle. So that's one of my favorite things. I don't know what it's going to mean for the meta, but I know that the health pools have gotten so large that oftentimes a submission is simply a setup for something else.
Right.
Now, if they reverse your setup, they've just neutralized your other two moves.
Right.
Because you cannot. Nikita Lyons is a great example of if you can't hit the black sub move, you can't do anything. You can't create the leech gems. You can't get the bonus damage for the leech. You can't hit, get it. So it's all leech turn to black. It's like they've just neutralized you. So I'm a little concerned that some of my favorite superstars could be neutralized.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the way they're doing, like said in the chat, it was Bunders, I think, just trying not to make it where you go in autopilot. My problem, though, is trying to remember, okay, so famously, every time I do a freaking video or a, especially the power rating, I always just go up against Zombie Sammy, and I forget 99.9% of the time that Zombie Sammy steals trap gems. Like, I will do it 6 times out of 5, right?
You did it on stream the other night, twice.
Exactly.
When we did power ratings.
Right. So if I'm going into my feud lineup and I have to think about, okay, this person's good against Showboat, so don't take my Showboat against her, but this person does sub reduction, so don't go against them with subs and this and that. Like, my brain, you talk about the big brain, smooth brain, stuff like that. I can retain a decent amount of information, but whatever it is about this type of information does not stick with me. I will go into a feud match and go, crap, okay, well, dang it, I'm not going to lose, but it's going to take me 2 minutes to win a feud match. It's going to take me 10 minutes to win a feud. Like, I'm going to have to exit out and go back in because I screwed myself by going in against the wrong pairing. And I don't know, that side of it I don't like. I like the class specific stuff, but then on my own side, like trying to remember, if I have Acrobat Devon in there, then I need to go against Showboats, and if I have this, if I have Terry Funk in there, I need to go against that, and just like my brain can't keep all of that going constantly. It's the same reason why we created 3-minute movesets, because literally while your Merrick's wants to look at every moveset in there, I have space in my brain for 1, maybe 2 movesets per character, and that is it. Otherwise, I just can't hold all of the 17 variations you can do. So,
yeah. I think it would be great if there's anybody listening to today that actually works with the game. It would be really great if there were some sort of alert or match notes in the loading screen that would warn you of a potential caveat. Let's say, example, Muscle Man Bray, he has reversal, right? And you've got your sub move on. And so when it detects that equip or that matchup, then it warns you. Like kind of like the way a valet or a manager might, or something you might hear in the gorilla position before you go out. Right. We're talking of the real world of pro wrestling here, but I wonder if there could be some sort of, like, even if your opponent blinked or had a red outline or a shadow, where it was like warning you of a danger in the matchup, right? Yeah. So I'm not sure that that's even possible.
Could be. Who knows?
Man, it would help.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, I enjoy it. It definitely keeps the game more interesting, and the depth of the game goes, continues to grow, which is wonderful. Just for me personally, I lose sight of that mechanic. I will take my Zombie Becky in against Chelsea Green on a feud and go, oh, crap, I forgot again.
Yeah, I'm starting to kind of remember Strikers steal subs. I mean, Strikers steal traps. Strikers steal traps.
Strikers steal traps. Oh, okay.
So that like Zombie Sammy and Terry Funk are the two that do it. And for whatever reason, so like when I have a trickster, I love tricksters, and tricksters make traps. So I'm always I'm playing against my class advantage. I'm playing the class that has the advantage over me if I'm a trickster and they're a striker. But then I try to
Then you try to remember that you're going to drop off the stream suddenly again, and I've got to. Oh, and you're like gone, Rusty. All right, if you're still in the chat, Rusty, you got to add yourself back into the stream because you dropped off with your potato internet. So, all right, so let's talk while Rusty's gone. So, Chelsea's Green Zombie is the female powerhouse to go for right now. She's great. And plus 99 MP, she has some builds that are just crazy. Bret Hart is fine. Very fine. Come on, Rusty, join back in. I see you in the chat. I'm ready for you. We never rate the A tiers until, we won't power rate the A tier this weekend because while they'll probably release his plate, the information on it tonight, I would guess, they're not going to announce if there is or probably will be a moment. So Brett, just hold your thoughts on. And Bailey, I mean, she is really, really good. Like the move, I mentioned last month, move damage is back with Solo, but I kind of caveat it because unless you have the Ghost Whopper plate, unless you have a couple things like that, the move damage for Solo is okay. Like it's fine for 6 gold, but it won't scale into 7-star, assumably. But with Bailey, like she can drain Jade Cargill in one shot, right? It's crazy how good she is. Kind of like Jacob Fatu the month before her, which does give me this... Yes, Rusty. Which does give me this thought of, okay, well, why the heck is the S tier just so much better than the S plus tier pretty regularly? Like OTC Roman is the top, like from that month. But Jacob Fatu has so much more top end than Solo did. And we haven't seen the S plus tiers yet, but unless the 2 to 3 S plus tiers that we're going to get this month are just monstrously powerful, Bailey is going to be just so good that I'm going to choose to try and go for Bailey over Punk unless he's super, super good. Well, realistically, I'll try to go for both. But hey, Rusty, welcome back.
Hey, sorry. I keep slipping into the upside down this morning. I'm not sure why. So, yeah, like on Stranger Things.
Will Breakers, that's old school surfer sting. I love that. So I just kept going with it. I just picked the ball up and said, "Hey, here's what I think of all 3 of them." So any final thoughts on the 3 zombies we know about so far?
No final thoughts on those zombies. Except for I'm excited to power rate them. I'm excited to see how they score, especially Chelsea. That's going to be particularly exciting. But I have a lot of thoughts, Lee, on the zombie accoutrement on the midweek champion prize wall.
Ooh,
so we can talk through and maybe grade each item, right? Or at least maybe say like a tier or a grade for it. And then once we finish that, we could talk about, well, how do we make a plan for this month based on a few key items? Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think the midweek prize walls continue to be my favorite thing in the game, and I don't see any reason why this month wouldn't be the same. So yeah, what are you scouting? What are you thinking early on you're going to be running for?
I've got my eyes locked on one item in particular. For me, it's going to be the biggest get, right? And then maybe we'll hear your big get. Like, what would the biggest get on this prize wall be for me? It is the Zombies Return of the American Nightmare moment. The moment, and it's only 3.3K medallions. So it's one of the cheapest items, zombie items on the wall. It is a fraction of the price of the gear. And yet it is a universal moment. So it's going to work in all game modes for Zombie Cody, Zombie Gunther, Zombie Becky, Zombie Liv, Zombie Tuso, Zombie Sammy. Right. It is the get. For me, it's the get. I've never seen this item offered any other time except when it first premiered. So this is the
Right.
first time it's ever been offered in the game. So
Since
for
last
me,
year.
this is the item that I'm going to take, and that I think everyone that
Right.
doesn't have it should take.
Well, I agree. I would guess there's going to be a midweek, or I'm sorry, there's going to be a moment for this year's zombies. I mean, they've been
Spoiler
doing it
alert.
every month. They've been doing it every month so far. Like
Well,
it's
you heard it here first. Lee just violated his NDA with
What?
Scopely
Stop it.
Enterprises.
Stop it. But I mean, yeah, I mean, again, if I have to choose towards the end of the month, that would suck. But with it only, quote unquote, being 3 point whatever K, I think that one is at least within reach. And because of how much I love Zombie Sammy and Zombie Becky alone, I don't have Tusos. Maybe this month, who knows? But the Tusos are also amazing in that those 2 to 3 alone are worth getting that moment for 100%, 100. Because it's like I don't remember before that moment coming out them doing
Right.
universal moments as frequently. It was like with that
Right.
moment, I started to see the universal all mode moments start showing up. And I mean, it's going to make Zombie Sammy insane. My Zombie Sammy already hits 120, 130 million easy without trying. And that's the last piece I need for him. I've got the gear now. I've got Roxanne. I've got a decent strap
Right.
on him. That is what I need to make Zombie Sammy the best. And Zombie Becky,
Yeah.
while I still absolutely love her, without the gear and without the moment, she has taken a little bit of a shine off since last year. But if there's another oopsie poopsie and I can get a ton of midweek prize wall medallions, that would be my next thing, would be to try and get her gear as well. So
I'm going to say this really fast. Listen close if you're in the chat or if you're in Lee. So these are the zombies on the moment.
Oh.
Becky, Sammy, Cody, Seth, Damian Priest, Tusos, Liv, and Gunther. These are their universal boosts at max. Multiply gems generated from moves will increase their strength by 5. Blast gems do 300% more damage. Silence gems do 125% more damage. Pyro gems do 125% more damage. Trap gems do 150% more damage. Botch gems do 150% more damage. That is better than most of the gear that's offered, at least in my opinion.
it's,
And it affects 8 different zombie superstars, friends.
that is good.
So 3,000 medallions
Right.
compared to 24,000 medallions for Becky's gear.
For Zombie Becky. Yeah, Zombie Becky's gear is not
Bruh.
within reach for me at all unless there's an oopsie. So
That's twice as much as William Regal's gear was, right? It's the cost of both William Regal gears combined.
is it? No, because
Right.
I got one of William Regal's gear, not Zombie Regal. That's a different story.
Oh, man.
But the other one was 24,000. Maybe the first month they offered it, but I have not been able to get William Regal's second gear. But you only need one. I mean, you only need one.
Right. Lee, what's your biggest, is that your target? Would that be your big get? Is the moment?
The moment is my big get 100%. So let's put a hypothetical reality out there. I don't normally get quite this much, but let's just say I get 15 to 16,000 midweek prize wall medallions. That would be some spend. That might be a Ruby Market thing. Who knows? But let's say if I get 15 to 16,000, one is get the zombie moment 100%. Then I've got a kind of a hard decision ahead of me because Zombie Ray's gear is top notch. He already tricolor, not the tricolor build that Merrick's did in his video, but the one that does the countdown gems and makes blue on the board. I could already have that hit insane damage, but without the gear, it's just not feasible. Like you have to wait turns, you gotta blah blah blah.
Right.
So it is super risky. So I get why Merrick's doesn't run it because it is super risky, but it's high risk, high reward all day. if you run that one. So Zombie Ray's gear would be a huge like, ooh, oh, should I do that? There's a couple other gears on there that, I don't have. I don't know that I would like. Somebody said without the Tusos gear, they're not great. Well, I don't have the Tusos, but if I get the Tusos this month, and if their gear is on that prize wall, I'd have to look. Then yeah, that would be good. Plus, the thing I love about the midweek prize wall is it's an embarrassment of riches because there's so many things on there that I'm like, ooh, I don't have that, I don't have that, I don't have that. So instead of the old, like I ranted on prize walls for like 3 or 4 months, 6, 7, 8 months ago, and the biggest thing was there's nothing I even want, and I'm not getting enough to get even that. Now maybe I'm still not getting enough prize wall medallions, but when I do get some, there's 3 or 4 things that I'm like, ooh, should I do that? Should I do that? Or should I do that? Like the Seth, the Cody Rhodes moment that impacts Showboat Seth. Now that I got Showboat Seth, like that's one that I'm like, ooh, feuding would be so good with him if I had that. But that means I'd have to choose that over Ray's gear. So now I have like this Sophie's Choice going on. So yeah.
Lee, let me divert my attention, if I can, for a moment. Away from the midweek prize wall, because my second item that I'm eyeing more than anything else this month has already been revealed. It's the 3 emblem claim in the Toxic Rumble premium prize wall, the MLC prize wall. It is Zombie Rey Mysterio's poster at 6 star.
Right.
Three emblems, right? So you got 3 emblem Rey, 2 emblem Bobby Lashley, 1 emblem Skull King Triple H, 4 emblem General's Hand plate, the Walter plate, the Gunther plate, and then 2 emblems is your gold coin pulls. Lee, what on that prize wall excites you, if anything? And there's also Brett shards and Bailey shards.
Right.
Jump back over to the midweek.
Okay, so we can move over there. So that's a good question. So we did a video how to max an MLC that's updated for the new 6-star gold style. So make sure you check that out. 750 others have. Let's get it, even more than that. But say you max the MLC. The question is always, okay, do I get the 6-star gold coins? Because it's a guaranteed 6-star gold. But if you're rusty, 2 months, 3 months in a row, you pull Striker Butch. And,
I got a Powerhouse Bushwhacker with my single 6-star loot coin last month.
Oh, sorry, man. I got Showboat Sheamus at 6 gold. That was a big fuse for me. But your odds are low to mid that you're going to get something extremely good with that. Whereas Zombie Ray not only is a really good powerhouse by himself, now you really need the gear to make him really meta relevant and good, but he's still a good powerhouse. And even more than that, if you have Zombie Ray, Zombie Dominic continues to be a B tier, free tier character that can outshine S plus tiers all day, every day. Right. If you have Zombie Ray,
best free. I will say he's definitely the best free zombie we've gotten. Chelsea, we'll see how she challenges him. Right. Because her coachability is just as potent as Gunther's.
Yeah.
But I've never had Ray to pair with Dominic, and it's always made me sad. Yeah. Always. And I want Ray as a coach because of his additional green gem creation as a coach. I think it's going to be super, super useful and beneficial for my roster. If not, I don't know that the plate will. The plate for me, I can throw it on Zombie Gunther, and I can recycle the sub. But again, now there's zombies running around with subs. They'll kill me if I sub them, right?
Right.
Then the gold pulls. Now, if you're a newer player, you're going to get something good, and you're going to get something good you don't have.
Right.
If your roster is the risk is not worth the reward for me. It's not worth it.
I still love them. I mean, I enjoy that quite a lot. But this month in particular, I have a lot of the zombies. Like if I didn't get Zombie
Right.
Orton or Tusos or somebody like that, if I got one of those, it'd be huge. But yeah, I mean the Gunther plate really is best on Gunther. There's others, but very limited number of
Do you
others
have the
that works
plate?
with.
Do you
I
have
do
that
not.
plate?
I don't have one.
So,
No.
so that's probably your get from that prize wall.
Yeah, the Bubba's spec would be the get, but again, I don't have unless I pull Chelsea Green this because I'm going to do some
Right.
pulls this weekend or tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to do some pulls. So unless I pull her this weekend at 5-star, I'm not likely. Or if they do an offer, like last month there was an offer where if you spent a certain threshold, you got a 5-star instead of the 4-star. Blah blah blah.
Right.
But I mean, realistically. I'm not on track, let's just say, to get the Bubba specs.
And those
the
are
Bubba
different
specs are
currencies.
huge, though.
Those are different currencies. So you
Right,
could
that's
get
the 5-star.
arguably,
Yeah.
So would the Gunther plate be your MLC? If you max the MLC, what you'd want? The
Yeah,
Gunther
I've got
plate?
the other 3 zombies. I probably, I don't know. I don't see Gunther in my specific roster as somebody that I'm going to use much at 6-star gold. It'll be great to get him, which we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah.
The fact that they're giving away Gunther up to 6-star gold just for playing is phenomenal. He is a solid, good fighter, but his coaching ability is off the freaking charts. Continues to be the best coach in the game. It's just the other 3
Right.
zombies are now tied with him that are new this month. But if I got the plate, I still don't think I would use Gunther that much. He's fine.
Well,
but
you can
one
use
has-
it on any superstar with a yellow or purple move.
Yeah.
Any superstar. So Final Boss Rock could use it, which
Right.
most of the community has, right?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think who's got a really good. Goat Becky with that crazy sub, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't have her
they
gears,
could work
though.
on her. Could work on her. Yeah.
Sure.
How about back to the midweekly? Is there anything else that you're like, this is the get?
Well, the ongoing get for those, if you have enough to get the 60% to 100% gym damage all gender straps, those when they came out, we were like, oh my gosh, how I can't believe that they actually did this. But the reality is, I pulled one for this last, and it obviously is very class dependent, blah blah blah. But my last thing I was able to get from the prize wall for the Bloodline was a 100% modern era strap. Unfortunately, I pulled tech, which I've got multiple tech ones now because of different prize walls. But I realized it's non-gender specific. Charlotte had a move damage strap, and so suddenly my Charlotte now is hitting 100% harder than she was a moment ago or a week ago, and I love it. So I would say, especially if there's certain characters where you either don't have, hey look, I can make my hair white, I can make my hair red, if you don't have somebody that is, or I'm sorry, if you have somebody that is a top tier character but they need a gym damage strap or something like that, it's worth, for me anyway, it's worth taking a gamble on those if you can't get something else. And even the 60% ones, they're cheaper. Obviously, they're not 100%, but 60% gym damage is not bad. It's not something we're sneezing at, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that I would say I totally agree with that. And I would also say this, the zombie gear that is worth getting would be Tustos, Sami Zayn, and Cody Rhodes. I think all of the other gear is the Rey Mysterio gear, arguably too.
If you have
else-
Ray's gear and want to use them, it's great. But Zombie Sammy plus gear plus moment is
Right.
just, you got to have Roxanne. Sorry, so those 3 things, literally 150 million easy.
I was shocked when I saw the sticker price on the Bianca Belair gear, 11K. Bobby Lashley, 11K, and I'm like,
Right.
Don't
and
do
Bobby
that,
Lashley is not meta relevant anymore, unfortunately, even with his gear.
Just
I've got it.
very
It's not.
slow animations as well, right? So,
And he just doesn't
even
hit
for
hard
Boss.
enough. Yeah. 4 columns of reinforced gems used to be like, oh my gosh, he's insane. Now, that's not much. I mean, think about Maxine, who makes most of the board reinforced gems and then also buffs the damage of her gem color.
Yep.
Bobby doesn't do either of those. So I love him. He was
Here's,
my first Chase character I ever got.
here's the last thing I'd highlight, and this is kind of the sleeper pick. If
Ooh.
you are a free-to-play player that doesn't have much zombie stuff, or a newer player that doesn't have much zombies, and you want some really cool zombie takeaways this month, the zombie Hell in a Cell moment and the zombie spring outbreak bash at the beach moment, those are both one what is it, 1600 medallions, 1.6k a piece.
Okay.
And those are they're not game breaking. They're not gonna overhaul your roster or make anybody OP, and yet we also don't want to assume that everyone in the community has a ton of medallions to spend. So if you're hanging around, the 3 to 5k total medallions, that's something to look at, right?
Yep.
So the WrestleMania American Nightmare moment is still better, but if you have in addition to, let's say you have another 2,000 and you don't know what's on, yeah, I like that. That's a really cheap price on a moment, period. And those are moments that are rarely offered. So kind of a deep pick there. Well, Lee, how do we make a plan for this month? Because one of the things that I know, one reason I did not like the Ninja Turtles moment or the Ninja Turtle event is because it threw a giant wrench in my plan. My plan last month was to focus and zero in on Jacob Fatu, and then the plan grew to include the Bloodline moment. And then out of nowhere, or in the distance, I thought it would be really cool if I could get Jacob's gear, just icing on the cake. I don't think I'm going to get it, but that would be. And then the turtles show up. Right. And then I'm told Leonardo's the greatest coach in the history of, so it's like, whoa. I don't have a plan. Right. Do you want to talk about some of the ways you plan for a month and how you set your sights and keep fixed on all that?
Yeah, well, last month it was a little easier because now that we do know who the S plus tiers, or at least 2 out of the 3, I think they've said, are, but we still haven't seen them or how to get them. Last month, I had a pretty clear path, other than the TMNT event, to knowing right off the bat that Jacob was the get. I knew I wanted Jacob Fatu. Like, he was Acrobat Males was a desperate class on my roster. And so I planned how much I was going to spend, give or take. I actually went over, but that was my own fault. But I planned roughly what I was going to spend for the month, where I was going to do polls, like right off the bat. And I knew that week 1 was the biggest shot to get Jacob's shards, and I knew that the last week was going to be the best shot, or only shot in this case, to get his gear. So I planned my spend primarily around those 2, the first and the last week of the month. This month, again, it does seem like for the 3 characters that are out right now, this weekend is my best shot to go for Bailey's shards, although they've changed it a bit, to get Chelsea, and like high rarity of her, and to get Bret Hart. So this month still feels like that's the right marker, but there's no gear, at least as far as we know. The free tier has been having gear for the last several months, and the S tier has been having gear for the last several months. There's no gear this time. That's probably going to be for Spring Outbreak, and we don't know. I think that next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, they're going to announce one of the mystery S tiers that we don't know anything about, and how to get him. But until I know that, I can't plan as well this month. This month is going to be by the seat of my pants. It does feel like a combination of the old way that they did things, where just every weekend there was a new superstar and you just figured out how you were going to get him, and the new way. And Rusty, you're gone again, buddy. Rusty, rejoin. I was literally about to turn it back over to you and stop talking, and now you're gone. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. So I'm not sure. Oh, look, now you're back. Okay, so now I can turn it back over to you. I'm not sure that I have a clear pathway this month like I have the last few to say who do I want to get, but I still think call your shot. If you know you're going to spend which one do you want? Like, is it Chelsea at the highest rarity to get the Bubba spec? Is it Bailey? And then just zero in on where are those shards? Where is that character?
Here's how I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to ignore the weekend stuff. The LA Knight and the CM Punk. I'm just going to, I'm going into this month with that out of sight, out of mind. I want Bailey. I want the moment we've talked about already. And if there's a new moment for this year, I am okay to say that Bailey and a new zombie moment would be sufficient. And I would feel like this month was a big win. Feel free to rebroadcast my words to me if I start getting the FOMO or the itchy fingers, right? But like there's so many things I don't have because I was free to play for 6 years that if I finish this month with Rey Mysterio, new Bailey, new Chelsea, new Brett, potentially a new moment for Bailey and Brett and Chelsea, I don't need the rest. I don't need the rest. I don't now. I might tell myself I do, but that is a huge haul, right?
That is it.
Now, if an OTC Roman style character appears, I'm okay with missing it or passing on it or not spending to try to chase it. I'm okay with, because that's the level of player that I am. That's not for everybody. That's not for everybody. That's where I'm at with the game. Yeah. I enjoy it when I make a hit list right out of the gate and say, this month it's Ray, it's Bailey, it's Brett, it's Chelsea, and if a moment drops that boosts all three of those, I'll be stoked. I'll be stoked because then I'll get 3 of the new coach abilities to add to my zombie Gunther coaches. So I'll have 4 of the 6 categories will be covered by the 60% multiplies and 30% to a color gym damage. I'll be what a huge haul that would be, right? What a huge haul. Now, anything else? Cool if it happens, but I'm purposing now that I'm not going to get sucked in to the hype, you know?
Wow. Well,
thoughts on that?
I mean, that's a good plan. No, I think that's a good plan. Especially if so. OTC is a good example. You've seen our videos. You know that I actually had bought a few polls with the special 20 for 40 deal that they did, and I already had so let's just say I did some megas this last weekend, and I thought, oh my goodness, they have a really good chance of getting OTC with this many polls. Not even a whiff of him. I mean, so if CM Punk, if LA Knight are as rare as OTC, it would be foolish of me to try and spend on them as I did with this last one. But if I got them, of course, I'd feel differently. But to your point, the zombie coaching abilities that we've already done a video on, Professor's done, Merrick's, etc., they're better than Leonardo. Provably. In fact, Evolution did a video with us. This is
dangerous knowledge, friends.
It's dangerous. Yeah, where even though, I mean, adding times 3 to your multis is huge and on paper should be the best thing ever, the 60% gem damage boost with Gunther, who was the only one at the time, was actually more. And so I did a video where it was looking at that, where we just did Jacob Fatu, and it didn't matter who it was. Anybody with like times 7, times 8 or above multiplies, you put the new zombies, 2 of them on there, and it buffs them up insanely. So Bret Hart is on my hit list, not because I, again, necessarily care about Bret Hart. He's one of my least favorite actual wrestlers. The best there was. The best there ever was.
He's the best there ever will be.
But because he is the one who buffs Jacob Fatu. So once
Right.
again, Jacob Fatu gets another
Right.
piece, and it's A tier, so it's somewhat accessible. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, he
So,
also buffs Devon, which I was really excited about. Like I really enjoy Devon Dudley. Lee, can
right.
I tell you one little trick that I've
Please
started
do.
doing to maintain my sanity in WWE Champions? I've started making a list. I use a little spreadsheet like a Google Sheets, and I'm tracking everything I get
Wow.
during the MLC. I'm tracking everything I get. And when I'm frustrated with the game, when I'm mad at the game, I look at the list
Wow.
and it helps me calm way down. You know why? Because
That's smart.
I'm able to place my satisfaction in the game based on what I am getting, not on what I'm not getting.
That's smart.
And so this is why I think those turtle shards were such a conundrum for people, is because their sanity and their serenity were determined by what they were not getting
Right.
in the game, right? And so I'm like, I've already got it. It's on my list. I can be grateful for the fact I've gotten it, and I don't have to go back and have buyer's remorse. I don't have to have FOMO.
Right.
I don't have to have this hindsight is 2020. I wish I knew, then what I know now. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to play the mind games. I don't have
Right.
to do it. I can just go, hey, check out this list. I got Jacob. I got the turtles moment. I got 2 turtles. Heck, I got the bloodline moment. That in and of itself is a huge, rewarding month.
Right.
Anything else in addition to that, I don't have to be angry that I didn't get Raphael or
Right.
Leonardo. I don't have to be angry that OTC Roman feels so far away, right? I think that's how I'm planning the month now, is by keeping a record of what I'm getting through the month, right? Oh, and feud, I opened that bag and I got that Sheik plate, but I totally forgot about it because I was so mad that I
Right.
didn't get, that my loot pulls were bad. And it's like, well, dude, you got a Sheik plate this weekend, right? Like, that's awesome.
Right.
That's the takeaway. That's what you carry with you.
Yeah.
That's what you got to celebrate. That's what you got. Now, don't post, you have some self-awareness when you do it. Don't be braggy about it, but it's like, for your own knowledge, keep a record of what you're getting in the game.
Yeah.
Like when you got, what was it? It was like 1,000 of each TP for that code or something. 10,000.
Yeah. 2,000
for that.
TP of every color.
So like add it to the list. When the days you're feeling like the game is screwing you over and not giving you TP, you go, oh, well, I did get
The gratitude list.
yeah. Or just a ledger, right? A ledger of transactions
Nice.
that I think would help a lot of us to be to plan the month better and to be satisfied that we fulfilled our plan regardless of what new elements were introduced in the month.
Nice. Well, timing-wise, I think we can make the transition over to WWE TV, unless you got anything else for the game.
Looking at the real world of professional wrestling, Lee, WWE Bad Blood is coming to Atlanta, Georgia this weekend. And we have a full card. I can't wait to hear your predictions on this. Lee, first match on the card, I think this is what they're going to open the show with as well. Damian Priest versus Finn Balor.
Interesting.
Kind of a revenge match. It's kind of there's some stakes to it. They're doing some great storytelling with former tag team partners have imploded. Who do you have going over and why? And does this
I
match
think
even matter?
Damien, because I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll keep this feud going long term, but I think Damien needs to move away from the I Was Judgment Day version of himself. But I honestly, like, if you can verify and go back 6 months on our podcast where I whenever he was champion, I said multiple times, wait, there's a world champion? Who? Any? There is one? I've never heard of him. Like I thought he was the most forgettable thing ever. Since he's broken up with the Judgment Day and done the Terror Twins thing, I think Damian is gaining credibility. And now I wouldn't be upset if he were the world champion. Whereas before it was like, this guy's nothing. But I don't think that he can. Finn doesn't quite have momentum. Damian does. I think Damian gets hurt a lot more if he loses than if he wins. And I just hope that this is the end of the Judgment Day infighting and Damian moves on, does something else. How about you?
I think Finn's going over here.
Really?
And I think maybe I'm thinking with my heart in what I aspire or hope happens.
Right.
I want to see Finn become a credible contender for a major title again. He is one of the highest paid superstars in the WWE. And for him not to have a belt around a singles belt.
I was going to say, he's got the tag title. They defended it once in 100 days.
The singles, he needs a singles title. I would love to see a feud start with Cody Rhodes.
Interesting.
The same way AJ Styles can put on a match, and Seth Rollins can put on a match and make their opponent look all world, so can Finn Balor. He is one of the best guys to work with in the WWEs. He will make you look otherworldly. Yes, Finn Balor winning and then going on a run with Cody or LA Knight or whoever, right? Jey Uso, whoever Finn works an angle with is gonna get better and gonna be legitimized as a champion. He's an opponent that's worthy of a main event feud. Secretly, I would love to see Finn, or not secretly, but selfishly, I would love to see Finn take Cody to the dark place this fall. Get some anger, rage, and animosity out of Cody. Expand his emotional capacity, his floor, and then even see Demon Balor make an appearance. Take Cody on a ride the way Jake the Snake used to with trust me. Take him to the worst place. The reason I love these guys working together too is because of the long, long history in another promotion together in one of the top factions of all time that I love, 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 and just would love to see that legitimized on the main brand. Triple H has talked about there is no more Forbidden Door. Prove it. Show us that there's no more Forbidden Door. Buy the rights to the Bullet Club. Right. You would make more money in your merch if you were the authorized dealer of what is still one of the most popular wrestling t-shirts of all time, the Bullet Club. Right. Just do it. Just buy it. Yeah. Bring it from New Japan directly to WWE. So,
I mean, if they did NJPW works with another promotion, but if they did something like that, how cool would it be if Triple H went back and fixed some of the previous administration's alleged biggest mistakes in booking? One of which being the invasion angle, WCW coming in. What if we had this big blowout where Cody and Roman are finally going at each other and there's all these other side characters that they've brought in, and we have that moment kind of like when the Dudley Boys, Rob Van Dam and others were in the ring, and all of a sudden you realized, oh, all those guys are former ECW. And then they did the slow turn, and all of them went after. What if the BC members were all in this pull apart, and you've got because you're focused on the bloodline, and so you don't notice that Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa have all of a sudden scooted over by Cody. And what if we got a Hollywood Hogan style turn from Cody, and suddenly Roman and the bloodline are the good guys who are trying to save everything. And the BC, AJ Styles is there, Finn Balor's there, the Good Brothers, the Tama Tonga Tongaloa, and all of a sudden there's this invading force.
And then Kenny Omega walks down the Oh my gosh, dude! I'm like dream booking from another world now, right?
Yeah.
If everyone who was ever in the Bullet Club could have stayed in the Bullet Club, they would have been the greatest faction ever.
Right.
Ever. They already are one of them, but they were never together at the same time, right?
Right.
It was always kind of a revolving door. So here's Tama Tonga. Most people don't realize he was founding member of the Bullet Club, like one of the original three, right? So long history of doing business with Cody Rhodes. Speaking of Cody Rhodes, Lee, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. It's not a title match. Will it main event? Will it main event this pay-per-view?
Man, yeah, that's the question mark right now, because they're talking about, should the main event go to Drew and Punk, which is the better story, or should it go to Cody and Roman? What's that?
Drew and Punk is also not a title match.
Yeah, it's not. It's just for, yeah. I mean, it's hopefully the last in their series. We'll see. But for me, I think Cody is getting close to that point where if he doesn't do something with his character, he's going to start to lose a lot of momentum. I do think one way or another they're going to take the title off of him heading into Netflix. But what if, like I've said here, what if another version of the same booking instead of the Bullet Club, because that's a farther shot, what if, Cody reveals that he has actually been the tribal chief behind Solo, and The Rock comes out and puts the Ulafala on Cody, because then it's like, well, wait a second, you're not Samoan. You're not Samoan. You're not supposed to be able to do this. But Cody shows that he has been the one behind the scenes since WrestleMania. And it's a long con. And it's Rock and Cody versus Roman and Jacob Fatu. And the bloodline divides around. And then, of course, you've got to question whether Jey Uso will go over. Then you've got the, I don't know. For me, faction warfare is the most interesting thing, and they still don't play it up as enough as they should.
Lee, I have an overactive imagination, and even in my brain, I could not concoct such an outrageous storyline as Cody Rhodes being secretly the leader of the Bloodline. That would be
the new Bloodline.
I don't know if that's the worst take you've ever had or just the most far-fetched.
Wow.
I think I'm offended just because I think I'm such a Cody mark that I'm actually offended
that you would
say that. What a shock! What a shock!
Wow.
But I think anything's in discussion. They've got to keep Cody interesting. They've got to keep Cody interesting, and that certainly would do that. I'm on board with your. There's really a different tribal chief, but I really think it's The Rock. Like, I really think The Rock is the tribal chief, and he's calling the shots from the boardroom,
right?
Which is, the new throne of power, right? So like that's kind of where I thought it was headed. I'm surprised they gave Solo the title of tribal chief at all. But Lee, who do you have going over in this match?
I think Cody and Roman are the clear victors, and if they don't swerve us, I would be shocked.
Can they coexist? Will there be heat between the two of them?
Maybe. I don't know. Like I say,
will we see any outside interference? Will we see Jimmy Uso return? Is this the return of Jimmy Uso? And which side will he be on? Picky, choosy. Oh, it's Roman's. Oh my God, it's Jimmy Uso. I think that's what I see happening.
Right.
I think that's more practical. I don't know.
I think you're right. I mean, I think, honestly, like the not crazy booking side of things, the reality of what'll happen is I think Jacob Fatu is going to turn on Solo and give Roman and Cody the win. And then you're going to see Jimmy Uso come back. And then the question mark is going to be, are the Guerrillas of Destiny with Solo, or are they going to turn to Roman? And then I think if they do it right, they rebuild towards Sami Zayn having a heel turn and coming back into the bloodline and kind of have that bloodline power shift moment. Then they can bring The Rock in, because The Rock, I believe, will show up when Netflix starts up. I think, even though it's Raw, I think they're going to want The Rock. They're going to want, all this. And I think that that's going to be where they kind of shift that, power center is towards that.
Lee, what are the odds? Now, maybe that's a bad question. It's a bad way to frame it.
Yeah.
Is it plausible that we could see Paul Heyman return to bring together CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns as some sort of GOAT faction, almost like Evolution was?
Maybe. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I am curious now that Brock has been added back onto the active roster page on WWE.com. I wonder if that is something that's in the works. Maybe they do. I don't want to see Roman versus Brock for the 4,000th time.
Me
but
either.
At least they have a new dynamic. But Heyman's with
Roman
Brock
and Brock under Paul Heyman. And CM Punk, the original Paul Heyman guy.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I could see it. They're all so old. None of them really want to be in the ring that much.
Yeah.
But they all have great mic skills, minus Brock, who has very few skills other than hurting people and driving a forklift.
That's funny.
So you've got Cody and Roman going over?
Cody and Roman going over because Jacob Fatu turns on Solo is my actual prediction.
I don't rarely do you see the bloodline lose at PLEs.
Yeah.
Rarely. Roman and Cody going over doesn't continue to legitimize the bloodline as the threat or advance the story.
Under Solo, they're done.
That's what concerns me. Yeah. I don't think Jacob is going to turn on Solo yet, if it ever. I think it's going to continue to build towards a War Games scenario. And I do think we're going to see potentially Jimmy Uso return, be the distraction to Roman that costs him the win, and yet somehow they reunite. I think that's how I would book it. I think that may. And then we have other people saying there's going to be a new bloodline debut in Bad Blood of
Hikuleo.
Hikuleo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just hope they're not wearing a black hoodie, because that's been done 1 million times by the bloodline. Lee, what about the ladies? WWE Women's Champion. Who's the WWE Women's Champion, Lee?
There is one? I didn't know they had a title for that. I've never seen them on TV.
It's actually Nia Jax versus Bayley.
Oh.
Nia Jax versus Bayley for the WWE Women's belt. Thoughts on this match?
Yeah, if it's not a Tiffy cash-in, what are we doing at this point, I think, personally?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I think this match is the cash-in, I would think, and the start of an incredible title run and reign from Queen Tiffy.
Yep. I would like that. I mean, that's really the only. Nia Jax is uninteresting to me as the champion unless they do something bloodliney with her. And Bayley, while I like her title reign was so forgettable. And when she was the champion, they barely put her on TV. They brought Bianca Belair out at a press conference, who wasn't even sniffing the title picture, instead of Bayley, because I don't know. Bayley just didn't have any. To
promote her reality show. They were more interested in promoting her reality show than Bayley's title on wrestling.
Right.
That says a lot.
That says a lot. So, yeah, if Tiffy doesn't win, what are we doing here? If she doesn't cash in, I mean.
Does Tiffy cash in before the results of Nia Bailey or during?
I don't know. I don't know that I care. I mean, if they want to give Bailey another number on her title reigns and say, oh, she's the X number champion, then great, let her win it, and then let Nia turn around and destroy her and call for Tiffy, and then Tiffy comes out, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think they're honestly going to build Tiffy versus Nia. I mean, that's what they tend to do in these booking scenarios. And so Tiffy comes out, betrays Nia or takes advantage of something that Bailey did, and then Nia has her rubber match, revenge match of like, hey, you weren't supposed to cash in on me. So
I hate it. I hate it. Tiffany Stratton has the work ability to make anyone look all world. She is the female version of an AJ Styles, Finn Balor.
Nice.
Seth Rollins. She's the like she made Becky Lynch look even better than Becky Lynch has ever looked.
Wow.
That's how good Tiffy is.
Tiffy, careful there.
She elevated the top woman in wrestling
in the history of wrestling. Yes.
That's to me that's crazy, bro. How can a rookie, quote unquote, make a legend look legitimate? That's
so
how
she's
good
the Logan
she is.
Paul of the female division.
That's how good she's so good, and she sells so well.
Right.
That unless you know what you're watching for, you don't see it because she's. And Bret Hart had that ability. Bret Hart would make every match against every opponent must-watch TV in a great, great match. She might already be the top female in the locker room, and I think everybody knows it.
Right.
So I think Tiffy cashes in. I think she cashes in after interrupts the match. I think she interrupts the match so that they can decide where they want to put heat with her. Maybe even have her work an angle with Bailey as well. Right. And Lee, that's not the only women's title championship on the card.
5 matches and 2 of them are females. Hooray!
Female title match. We have the women's world champion Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley with my favorite stipulation of the night: Dirty Dominic Mysterio suspended above the ring in a shark cage.
Shark cage.
My son asked, will there be sharks in the cage? I said, that's an aquarium, son. He's not going to be in an aquarium. He's going to be in a shark cage. And he didn't understand that it would be dry and aerial, right? He thought he was going to be underwater or submerged. And I was like, man, maybe my son should be writing for the booking.
There you go.
Hasn't this storyline happened before? Wasn't this the custody match between Ray and Eddie? And was Dominic in the cage as a little boy?
Not in the cage. It was a ladder match, and there was a custody of Dom contract on the thing. And then I think that's the famous match where Vicky Guerrero didn't come out at her timed spot, and Eddie yelled at her and cussed on screen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. So this is for custody of Dom to see if he gets to be a top or a bottom, right?
Wow.
Right? So what do you think is going to happen? And is this the conclusion of this storyline?
Well, I don't know. Unlike Damian Priest's involvement with the Judgment Day, as much as I feel like it's gone on too long, the Rhea, Dom, Liv stuff is just hilarious every week, and they keep finding ways to just make it interesting. So, I don't know. I think Liv goes over. If they're going to continue to try to legitimize her as champion, she gets custody of Dom. Otherwise, it feels too soon to do like a double cross angle.
Right.
The alternative to that for me is, of course, if Rhea wins and then she literally makes him, like, she brings him out with a dog collar and stuff like that, where, you know, he
Oh
doesn't
my
want to
god.
be there, but she like makes him a manservant type. That
Oh my
might work.
gosh. Dominic becomes a gimp in a leather mask. That would be
Carrying Cross 2.0.
terrible, but almost predictable, right?
Almost
I
predictable, yeah.
gosh, I don't know if this can resolve with this stipulation. It
Ew.
just seems like Dominic has to get out of the cage.
Right.
Dominic has to affect the outcome. Dominic has to be the draw, the heel, the heat. So it means he's got to screw over Rhea somehow to push. We are on the road to WrestleMania.
We
Rhea
are?
Ripley might be the first ever women's two-time Royal Rumble champion.
Wow.
I don't know. It just feels like Liv's got to go over. Liv's got to get a beat down, though. Dominic's got to be clever and get out. He's got to interrupt. He's got to ruin it.
Wow. Yeah. I honestly,
What if
this is the
Tiffany
one
Stratton
I think I
cashed in
have
on
the
this
least.
match?
Not that I care about it the least. I just care about the outcome the least, but not in a bad way. Like, I think they can do good creative, whoever wins. Like, I will be excited about the storyline and the way they do it, regardless of the outcome, which I think is actually a very good compliment to their storytelling on this one.
What if the creatives at WWE know we are expecting a cash in from Tiffy on Naya, and they totally juke us and have her come out and cash in on Liv?
Right. That would
That
be,
would be incredible.
yeah.
We would be talking about that in real time, blowing
Right.
up Discord, chatting about it if that happened.
And then Naya and Tiffy continue as a faction, and they're both the world champions. That would be something different. I would see, no matter the outcome of this match, I feel like they're going to do
Right.
something good with it. So I don't care doesn't mean like it's bad. Like, oh, I don't care is actually a compliment. Like, I don't care what happens in this match because I feel like there's going to be something so good no matter what. Interesting.
I want to see JD McDonough bring a
Da-da-da-da-da.
grappling hook and a rope out and ascend through the air to be the one to unlock the cage and
Right.
rescue Dominic. That would be impressive.
Right?
Final
That'd be
match of the
fun.
night, Lee. The only one you probably care about. The one we've seen a million times already, and yet it stays relevant and stays interesting. Charles, Christopher, Matthew, Michelson, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell. How's this not the main event? It might be the main event. I don't know.
It might be.
It's gonna be an
They're still
hour
deciding,
match.
it sounds like. So
I bet they're going to
yeah.
give this a 60-minute match.
I think so. I hope this is the conclusion of Drew versus Chainsaw Marley. That'd be my go-to. But honestly, again, I'm okay with whichever one winning. I think Drew needs it more than Punk. Punk will be fine, and Punk won a very definitive match before. I think this one's going to be built around like, okay, they're reminding us they called it Bad Blood because that's where the original Hell in a Cell was. Shawn
Right.
Michaels versus Undertaker, and like,
We watched it this week.
yeah, you
on
did.
Peacock.
Oh, nice.
My son and
Nice.
I did. Yeah.
Well, I think like that, that Hell in a Cell is not remembered the same way that, of course, the Foley Taker one is, but it is like that was the first. That was memorable, and I think this is a statement piece from Triple H to say, remember when Hell in a Cell was a throwaway pay-per-view and everybody got a Hell in a Cell match? No, this is what Hell in a Cell is supposed to be, and from that side of it, I'm very excited. And like the last comment, I actually don't care which one wins. I care that they elevate the cell, which will, of course, then elevate them. so that when Hell in a Cell comes back and is used, it's a, oh my gosh, did you hear they're going to do Hell in a Cell, and not, well, yeah, Hell in a Cell pay-per-view's coming up. How many are we going to get this year? 6? Great. Okay, who cares?
They use different language to build this up. They talked about actually murdering one another in their promos. It's
Really?
the first time I've heard such violent language during promos where they talked about you're going to need a feeding tube, your wife's going to have to bathe you because you're going to be paralyzed. They're going to take you to the morgue after this match. And I was just like, these are not things they usually say on wrestling. So whatever is happening with the evolution of the brand, this match is the cutting edge of the evolution of the brand.
Right. Yeah, I think so. I think this has the most lasting impact potentially out of all the matches on the card, other than maybe if Roman, if something big happens there. But this one is the one that will set the tone for this is what Hunter is able to do, Will we see AJ Lee? Will she come out and console her beaten, bludgeoned husband at the end of the match? Again, I've got crazy booking thoughts all day today, apparently. But for me, I would love to see AJ come back. I would love to see her turn on Punk and side with Drew.
It's his wife. It's his real life wife.
Well, Dom's real life wife has to watch him make out with Liv Morgan on TV. So
I know, right? Pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this ends. I'm excited to watch it. I have no predictions.
I don't either.
I have no predictions, and I would love to see AJ Lee come out and be reintroduced to the WWE Universe just in time for her to participate in Royal Rumble. Be great.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'll say Drew goes over just to make a hard pick, but I'm fine with either, and I'm fine with AJ not showing up. I do think that would be a nice icing on the cake either way, but yeah, who knows?
What if this is the reemergence of Seth Rollins? What if Seth shows up and interferes?
He's back. He showed up on Raw or SmackDown or whatever, didn't he?
Who's he targeting?
Bronson Reed, which I think is great. I mean, they're doing a storyline now where Bronson gets elevated, and Seth can be the kingmaker now. I would love to see that role for him.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I hadn't finished watching Raw yet. Did they collapse the ring on Raw? I thought I saw a spoiler of that.
Yeah.
Boy, that's like era defining, isn't it?
I love when they do it. It's fun. Unfortunately, Braun Strowman got very hurt during that. So, but again, if they capitalize, I know we're not talking Bad Blood anymore, but Bronson Reed has always been a character that if they did him right, he could be a monster. And when they did the Smash Seth, Smash Miz, Smash R-Truth, all that, like that was amazing. And then he smashed Braun Strowman. If they do an actual match at the next PLE between Seth and Bronson just destroys him, I'm in.
I don't like Bronson Reed. I didn't like him when he was called Rhino. I didn't like him when he was called Taz. I didn't like him when he was called Atom Bomb. There's always one big guy in a onesie that they're trying to push, and he has no neck and no personality, and they try to make him a wrecking ball. And let me just say this. Braun Breaker is what they wish Bronson Reed was.
Wow.
We've got the Braun we need. We don't need the chubby guy in the unitard running around, cheap-shotting people anymore.
Wow.
And he's a reincarnation of Ryback and that other necklace posse that I named before him, right? And we didn't like him then. We don't like him now. We don't need it. He doesn't fit on the show. He's not cool. He's not selling T-shirts. He's not a monster. Braun Breaker is the legitimate version of him, and then Braun Strowman is the bigger and better version of him. So why do we need this additional bowling ball on the make it make sense to me, you know? I just don't get it.
Oh, wow.
He's a less funny Otis, right? What does he do? What does
Rusty,
he do?
I just wish that every once in a while you would let us know how you actually feel instead of holding back so much, you know? They
give the wrong guys pushes, and it drives me crazy. That's the worst thing to me, is them forcing a push from somebody where there's already somebody better that does it on the roster.
Wow.
Right? So that's my thing. Is like, that's why I don't like this, whatever it's called, with Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler and what's the
Pure
other one?
Forgettable Collective is their name.
Like one of you gets to be the UFC fighter. One of you, the best one. The other two need to figure it out. Now we've got Shayna Baszler, who made Ronda Rousey retire, so she's the UFC fighter. She's got the angle. And now you have Sonya Deville that just like reemerges, I don't know, just to take more credibility away from what they've already built into Shayna. Why they do that? Why they do that? Hey, you're gonna be the Temu version of Shayna, right? But you're better on the mic, so we'll push you.
Temu on one side, Wish.com on the other.
It's just like, I really like Zoe Stark.
I do too.
But you know what? I mean, like, you got to give her something original. When she was the bad girl in the blue jeans and the leather jacket with Trish Stratus, that was cool.
It was.
She was the enforcer. That was cool, right? And now you've got Ivy Nile, she's wearing like the women's, I don't know, what is she? The women's Ultimate Fighter kind of style.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, come up with more original gimmicks for the women than just you wear boxing shorts and have muscles.
Right.
You know, it's like, come on. To me, the most entertaining thing in the women's division that is, they just don't know what to do with her yet, is Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do with Lyra. They know she's got the it factor, but they don't know how to package it. They don't.
Right.
This kind of Raven persona is cool, but is she evil or is she good? Right? Like begin to tell a story, because I think she's really top-notch entertainer. So.
Yep. Well, I got to get to some work stuff, so I think that's all the time I can give us today. But man, that last stretch, if you didn't watch anything else and you skipped to the end, go back 10 minutes and just watch Rusty rant on wrestling. It's amazing. So
why Bronson Reed is not good. Yeah.
The chat is disagreeing with Rhino in particular. That seemed to be everybody else is like, but Rhino, it seems like the chat was a little triggered by. So, well, anything you want to say to take us out, Rusty?
Hey, join us each and every Friday night on Twitch as we do something that we've kind of become like our thing, kind of our creative addition to WWE Champions, and that's our power rating system. We're going to be power rating zombies this week and next week. We've still got a couple of Ninja Turtles we got to go back and power rate. As if they're the real zombies. They're the thing that won't just die and go away, and they keep resurfacing in the game.
Wow.
That's it for me.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Be sure to like, subscribe, and all that on our YouTube and the Twitch stuff, because it really helps us out. We try to be helpful to the community, and we truly appreciate all of you who have stuck around and just chatted in here. We'll see you Friday on the main and next Thursday again for the podcast. Bye.